he executes well on his portfolio and uses Section 8 as part of his strategy. So let us all give a warm welcome to Mr. Joe Asamoah.
Okay, hello everybody. Hello. I'm not the guru, father. I'm not a guru, so but I hope all is well. And I don't know if anybody knows who I am, but essentially, I do buy and hold strategy. So buy, renovate, and hold my houses. I used to do some flips, but generally, I prefer to buy and hold because at the end of the day, I can cut through the chase. In the DMV area, in my opinion anyway, the real money is through appreciation. And it's good to flip and make a couple of dollars, and I'll give some stories. But at the end of the day, I bought some houses where I regret selling. I refuse to go down some streets because I remember when I bought those houses and I flipped it, and now it's 10x the value, and so on. So it's a buy and hold strategy, and but beyond that, I like to if you're going to hold on to houses, obviously you're going to have to deal with tenants, and so I kind of landed on a formula with Section 8 program, and I know there's a lot of stereotypes with Section 8, gangsters, and they're going to trash your house, and non-stop drama every day. You got to play your rent with a bulletproof vest. You get shot at, I had all those stereotypes as well, but I realized that that is true for some people. But there's another group of voucher holders who are completely opposite. At the end of the day, they're really no different than you and I. And so I'm going to kind of talk about that. I've got a little sore throat, so I apologize for whatever you call it. But anyway, it's not COVID though. Okay, so let me just talk about my. If you don't know who I am, I was born in Ghana, that's in West Africa, and when we were 5 years old, my parents moved to England. So I lived in England until I came to the US. October 17th, 1985 at 7:30 on TWA flight 732. How about that? It's what you call a defining moment. So I just had I was transferred my job and to the US. I just knew one person in the US, that's it. My family wasn't here, I had nobody. And this guy was my boss. And so, anyway, we did quite a bit of travel. And one day I came back from vacation and found out that he'd been fired. He was gone. And which was shocking to me because in England and Europe, that stuff doesn't happen. I know it happens here every day here in the US, but it's not so common in Europe. And so he was a classic corporate guy. He'd work 20, 50 hours a day, 50 hours, 100 hours a week. He worked hard and did everything that we're supposed to do. Go to school, work hard, and so on. But he was fired. And so I was able to catch up with him a few weeks later. We grabbed lunch, and that lunch was a defining moment for me. What happened was that he said to me, "Joe, hey, this is America. These things happen. Don't worry about it. I'm not worried about it because I have these rental properties, and so I have this passive income coming through. So I'm okay." And he said to me, "Well, whatever you do, Joe, make sure you have a plan B because you don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. What happened to me could just as well happen to you." And at that time, this guy had like 10 houses. I just couldn't fathom how anybody could do that. One house, yeah, I get it. 2 houses, maybe. But 10 is like, who does that? It was like alien. And how is that possible? So he says, yeah, this is what goes on. And, but I recommend you get into real estate. And if you do, make sure that you hold on to your houses. Don't sell them. You know, you'll be tempted to sell them, but don't sell them. And mark my words, you'll be appreciative of that. Yeah, so that was a lunch, and I said, yeah, whatever. And because I wasn't at that mindset, you know what I mean? I couldn't figure this thing out. It was just too crazy. So, to cut a long story short, I went to a RIA meeting, probably just something like this. I met some guy, and this guy had like a house for sale, no money down, you know, just like the guru say. And so I went over to the house, and there were some tenants there. You know, I said, you know, what are the tenants like? Oh man, they're great. And I mean, I was straight from England, you know, all Americans are honest. So, so I took him at his word, you know. So, you know, so that was my due diligence. Okay, what are the tenants like? Good. Okay, that was it. And so I ended up buying a house, and found out after I bought the house that the tenants hadn't paid him for 3 months, and there was a $5,000 water bill, and the government was going to sell the house in a tax sale. So that was my entree to real estate investing. Okay, and it gets worse than that. There was these tenants in the house, you know, and they were real religious, really religious. You know, I'd go there trying to get my rent. Well, yeah, man, you know, according to Matthew 8, verse 15. The Lord said, the Lord is good. Yeah, don't worry, man. Yeah, have faith. So that was me trying to collect my rent. Okay, this is what I was getting scriptures, and this is going on and on and on for months. And I'll just cut to the chase. But essentially, what happened was that the tenants applied for rental assistance, and first of all, it was denied, and then they appealed, and it was approved, and the government paid all that back rent. They paid that $5,000 water bill, and they got them a voucher. Okay, and I went to the lady. She said, "I told you." God is good. I told you. So it's true. I mean, it's unbelievable. So yeah, that was okay. I learned, looking back. I mean, we can all smile and laugh about it. But at the time, it was pure hell. I mean, I didn't know what I was doing. I was saying, you know, what did I do to deserve this? You know, where's my mommy? You know, I want to get back to England. And so on. And but looking back, it was probably the best thing that ever happened, because I learned everything about what not to do. Okay, and I did no due diligence, no screening. I just bought a house. Okay, and after all that, even on a good day, I bought a house. It's in Columbia Heights, Northwest. I got it for $47,000. Okay, and when I bought that house, people were telling me, everyone knows where Columbia Heights is. Not too far from Howard University area. They were telling me I was getting ripped off. I was paying too much. Okay, I was getting duped. Okay, that's what people were telling me at that time. And but I knew, having traveled, done a lot of travel around the world, was that there's something about capital cities and capital areas, which is the same around the world. Okay, first of all, there's only one. Okay, there's only one capital. Every country, and whenever you think of a country, most of the time you think of the capital city. So if I say to you England, you're probably going to think of London. If I say to you France, you're probably going to think about Paris. If I say to you Italy, you're probably going to think about Rome. If I say Iraq, you're probably going to say Baghdad. I mean, it's the capital is the most, it's where the money is. Most capitals, they tend to be more resilient, the economy. And land in most capital cities tend to be a lot more valuable. Okay, and because it's a population magnet, and because that's where the money is, it tends to attract people. And because land is fixed, usually in capitals, prices over time goes up. And real estate is very based on the strength of the local economy. So if the economy is strong, usually the real estate market is a lot more resilient. Okay, it can withstand cycles a lot better than other places. I mean, that's just the way it is. Okay, around the world. Okay, so I knew that over time, this $47,000 house, where I was getting duped, okay, where I was getting ripped off, okay, would probably increase in value. I didn't know, but just by experience, I knew it's something was going to happen in the future. It's just a matter of holding it, okay, and that's what that guy was telling me. And I'll tell you this: after all is said and done, even after the tenant paid me, okay, after they paid me, I was making $50 cash flow.
You're making $50.
$50 cash flow.
Mm-hmm.
After I paid the mortgage and after I took the expenses out, I was making $50. Okay? So I was going through hell and back for $50. Okay? Now, anybody in their right mind would say, what, are you crazy? Sell the thing. Don't buy it. Okay? Yeah, agree? Will you buy a house and get $50 cash flow? Probably not. The second house now is worth $750,000. Okay, the rent is $4,700. Okay, I got a home equity line on that house and bought several more houses from that. Okay, that's not to brag or anything, because that's not the point. The point is, it is what it is. Okay, it's always expensive. 10 years later, house on that block, $150,000. No way, it's too expensive. Oh, who want to buy $450,000? Okay. 10 years later, $350,000. No way, it's so expensive. Who wants to buy it? Clearview Heights $350,000. No way. Now it's $750,000. No way, it's too expensive. Okay. It's always expensive. Okay. That's just the way it is, and you just have to accept that. You have to be at peace with that, because 10 years from now, I don't know what's going to happen. We don't know. But I can pretty much say that based on experience, 10 years from now, in 2033, if we're still here, you're going to be saying, my God, if only I bought that thing for $750, but it was cheap. Okay? I don't know, but that's just how it typically plays out in the capital. Now, I can't say that for everywhere else. Okay, but that's just how it plays out in the capital city, in the capital area. Okay, so so the point is that the capital is very expensive, and so after that experience, I bought another one. Then I bought another one, and bought another one. Kept on. I was working, so I had a regular job, like most of us here, and I reached a milestone in 2003. Which is June the 6th, 2003. And at that time, I had a pretty good job, 6-figure salary. A famous company, the first letter is I. It's got 3 digits. The last digit is N. I'll let you figure out what the middle one is. So I worked there. And my salary at that job equaled my rental income. Okay. So I was able to, that's the plan B that this guy was telling me about many, many years ago. I was able to meet that milestone in June the 6th, 2003. And I was able to transition from the full-time to be a full-time real estate investor.
Wow.
So we're in 23 now, so it's 20 years now. That's when I left the corporate world. Okay, again, I'm not bragging, that's not the issue. Okay, I'm just telling you my story.
Right.
And during that time, I've pretty much seen most scenarios as a landlord. Every tenant from hell you can think of, I probably experienced it. Every rehab from hell, I've probably seen it. Every contractor from hell, I probably will use them before. And I've been through, there's not a whole lot that really surprises me anymore. And so what I'll be doing today is sharing with you my experiences, the good, the bad, the ugly, and how it all comes together as to explain why I do what I do. Okay? And what I am going to share with you, I didn't just wake up one day and say, oh, let me do this. It's through trial and error. It's through having, scriptures told to you when you're trying to collect rent. Okay? What's the lesson learned from that? Good church. So I'll be sharing with you some of those experiences. Everybody okay with so far?
Yeah.
We're good? Okay. So I tend to buy in the Washington, D.C. area. So I'm not too familiar with Baltimore. Baltimore's a good market. It's just that I don't know Baltimore. I don't know Detroit. I don't know Chicago. I know here. I live here. I understand the neighborhoods. If someone says da 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 da, I pretty much know where it is. Baltimore. What I know of Baltimore, you drive down 95, you're left at East Pratt Street. You got Inner Harbor, and that's about it. That's all I know. So if someone says these neighborhoods in Baltimore, it doesn't mean anything to me. So I don't need to know it because there's enough around here, and it's focused. That's essentially what the thing is. And I say the bottom hole method is what kind of stumble on. And I'll talk about the Section 8, since that's really, maybe I'll break it down. So the way it works in Section 8 program is that rents are based usually on two things. It's based on the location. Depending on where you are, it's either based on the zip code or it's based on the neighborhoods. In Washington, D.C., it's based on the neighborhoods. And in Maryland and Virginia, for the most part, it's based on zip codes. Okay? So you can buy, a house in the city that you're in, but you may get a different rent because you're in a different neighborhood or in a different zip code. Okay? The other thing that makes a difference is the number of bedrooms. So if you have a 3-bedroom in neighborhood A, and the person has 4 bedrooms house in neighborhood A, you can get 2 different rents. Okay? Because there are more bedrooms. So a person that has 5 bedrooms could ask for more rent than a person with 4 bedrooms or 3 bedrooms. Where you got me? So what I do, because Washington is so expensive, normally you can't cash flow because the acquisition prices are so high and so on. So but if you understand how the rents are allocated or how they're determined, then it's possible to break even and it's possible to cash flow. An example would be, let's say, I bought a house not too far ago. The house is in Eckington, Northeast Washington. The house next door, it was a 3-bedroom, typical DC row house, 3 bedrooms upstairs, the basement, and so on. It was a 3-bedroom, 1-bath next door. I bought my house, 3-bedroom, 1 house. Are we going? And they're right next door. The house next door, they kept it as a 3-bedroom, and they were renting it for $3,500 a month. Okay. What I did was to, because he had a basement, I was able to make 2 extra bedrooms in the basement. Okay. So I turned that 3-bedroom to a 5-bedroom. Everybody got me so far? Mm-hmm. If I had turned it into a 4-bedroom, then I would have got $4,700 by adding another bedroom. Okay, but I added 2 extra bedrooms, make it 5, and now the rent is $5,400. Everybody get me? Mm-hmm. So the same house, if I had left it alone, I would have got $3,500 out of the next door neighbor. If I had added another bedroom, 1 bedroom, I would have got $4,700. But I was able to figure out, okay, kind of raise it to get 2 extra bedrooms, and therefore was able to raise to get 5 bedrooms, and the rent was 5,400. Okay, so what would, as a 3-bedroom, it would have been negative cash flow. As a 4-bedroom, it would have broke even. Well, probably would have got some extra cash flow there. But as a 5-bedroom, you can get cash flow. Following? So that's how I get cash flow in DC in this expensive market. Okay, you buy, you understand how it works, and then you figure it out. Okay, and so that's how I'm able to buy these houses. Although it's still expensive, you can still get cash flow and it can still pay for itself. Sure.
I see sometimes in DC, I see people have built another section on top of the house. Is that based on an area where you can do that, or anybody?
Well, if you get permits and get the right zoning, you can do that. I don't tend to do that's what you call bump up, bump out. I don't usually do that. I usually keep with the same footprint.
Okay.
Because it's easier.
Right.
And there's less, to get through the approvals is quicker.
Yeah.
Okay. So I tend to stick with that. But some people do what you're talking about. They do additions either back or up or whatever. But I just personally choose not to.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Didn't you say about 3-bedroom versus 5-bedroom?
Mm-hmm.
Could it be a 4-bedroom with extra bath, 2 baths?
Yeah.
And how would that be?
It's bedrooms.
Bedroom, not bath.
So it's not bathrooms. So if I had kept it as a 3-bedroom, 1 bath, I would have got 3,500. If I had turned it into a 3-bedroom, 6 baths,
Right.
it's still 3,500.
Right. I was saying like,
It's bedrooms.
4-bedroom, 2 baths.
It's 4 bedrooms.
4-bedroom.
Okay. Bathrooms is not the issue.
Okay.
It's the bedrooms.
Right.
Okay. So when you go to the house, you're looking at what you get extra rent. Okay. There's certain improvements that have a bigger payback.
Right.
Okay. A bigger ROI, return on investment. Okay. And it's the bedrooms that give you the biggest return because the rents are based on the bedrooms, not the bathrooms, not a fancy kitchen, not a fancy jacuzzi. No, it's bedrooms.
One question, now that you're adding the additional bedrooms in the basement, are you doing egress windows and kind of meet the standards of Section 8?
Yes. So what this lady was saying is that you can't just make a bedroom. You can't say, here's a closet over there, let me make that into a bedroom. Okay. There are standards. There are requirements from code and HUD. Okay. And they're usually 4 requirements. Okay. You've got to have the height. You've got to have what the lady was saying, egress, which means that in the event of a fire, they have to be able to get out 2 ways, through the door and possibly through the window. Okay. You got to have a closet. Okay. And you got to have what we call light and ventilation, which means that you've got to have a window. Okay. And it can't just be a glass because the glass is got a light, but there's no ventilation. So you got to be able to open the window. Following? So there are different standards, requirements of a HUD approved bedroom. So you can't just say, hey, and there's also minimum size. It's got to have a minimum of 70 square feet as well. Right? Good. I'm sorry.
I have 2 questions. Firstly, if you don't mind, what street in Eckington? And secondly, the property that you did have in Eckington, is that a 2-unit property?
No.
2 different no.
I have 2 on that block. And there's Old City, I've got houses where I've got 3 on that block. I've got quite a few houses. Again, I'm not trying to brag or anything, because that's not really the point. I'm not too sure what difference it makes what road it's on. Do you need to know?
I'm just familiar with the area, and I was just curious.
Okay, I'll tell you off record the word is it. I try to keep a low profile in terms of what I own. You know, I don't like to tell the world what I own, and I'm a very modest guy, as you can see, and so on. But yeah, it's in Eckington, and pretty good area. Eckington. It's about it's good area. Anyway, so Section 8 that's how they base their rents. Everybody good? Now, how did I stumble on Section 8? I used to live in Otis Place, Northwest, many years ago, off 13th Street. In the mid-90s, if you were here, I mean, you know what DC was like.
Yeah.
You know, Marion Barry got busted. Control board took over. Everybody's trying to get the hell out of DC. And where we lived in our house, I remember we came home went to the movies and came back. My next door neighbor was shot dead. Yellow tape were out. In the house, everything. Okay, that was DC. That was Columbia Heights. Okay, Columbia Heights of today is not the Columbia Heights it was back then. No way. It's like, where do you live? You got embarrassed. I live in Columbia Heights. Yeah, it's like Chapel. But it's very different today. And that's just the story of DC. But anyway, so we lived there. And we moved over to Maryland. And so I decided to rent the house, not sell it, kept the house. And this lady came when we were showing the house. She said, it's a nice house you got here. I said, yeah, it is. I used to live here. And she said, well, I don't want to rent your house. I said, why? She said, it doesn't have a jacuzzi. This is a voucher holder, okay? Okay, with a net worth of 0. Okay. Where's the jacuzzi? Where's your stainless steel appliances? You don't have hardwood floors. You can't rent your house. There's a voucher holder, okay? Looking me in the face, looking me in my eyes, and telling me the house where I lived at, was not worthy of her. Okay. I'm saying, what the hell is going on here? I mean, I understand it now. I didn't understand it then. I understand it clearly now. What was going on was that the market has shifted. And prior to that, it was a hot market, just like what we went through before. And so a lot of guys were flipping it. They buy a house, renovate it, and sell it. Okay. But the market turned. And I've been through 4 of these cycles. Let's say 5 now. 4 of these cycles. So, and so they bought the house with the intentions of flipping and selling quickly. But the market has shifted, and they couldn't sell it because they weren't buying. And so, what do you do if you can't sell? You either reduce the price, but because they paid so much because the market was hot, that wasn't so feasible. And the other option is to rent. Okay. And the way the Section 8 program works is that the tenant's portion of the rent is based on their income. So if their income is the same or doesn't change, their portion stays the same. So whether I rent if I'm a voucher holder, if my portion is $400, let's just say, it doesn't matter if I live in shoot 'em dead, war zone neighborhood, or Georgetown. I'm still paying $400. You follow me? So, if you had a choice between shoot 'em dead, war zone, or Georgetown, and for the same rent, where would you live? Okay. So what she was saying in a roundabout way was, hey, hold on a minute. There's a guy down the street. I mean, she wasn't saying this. She didn't really understand macroeconomic theory, and I don't think she understood all that stuff. But the point was, hey, there's a guy down the street who wanted to flip their house. They couldn't flip it. He's got the jacuzzi. He's got the hardwood floors. He's got the stainless steel appliance. He's got all that stuff. Okay, yours doesn't. My rent's the same whether I choose this house or your house. So forget you. I'm going there. I mean, that's what in a roundabout way she was saying,
Right.
okay? And it makes sense.
It's in the same neighborhood?
So I mean, that's what I'm saying. The portion of the rent that the tenant, I mean, from their perspective, you're going to go to the best value. I mean, it's common sense. Whether it be neighborhood or house. If it's the same neighborhood, you want to go to the best house in that neighborhood. Okay? I mean, it's,
I can relate to what you're saying because like, I currently work in social services, rapid rehousing program. I had clients that, they have to be housed and they only pay 30% of their gross income. And the government's paying the other 7%. And some of them be zero base, they don't have any income, so the government's putting them the whole 100%. And they're very particular about where they're going to live.
of course. Yeah.
So I understand thoroughly.
Yeah. I mean, it's common sense, really. It's not rocket science, okay? And so that's what, in essence, was going on.
Yeah.
I didn't understand it. I get it now, okay? But at the time, I say, who the hell are you? Say that, you don't want to live in my house, but get the hell out of here. I mean, and so on. But it's so what I realized from that was that there was another group of voucher holders. I call them tier 1 voucher holders, okay, who are your typical stereotype voucher holders. They're very particular where they want to live. They're very particular the kind of house that they want. They're very particular where they live, who they want to rent from, who they don't want to rent from. What kind of landlord they want, what kind of house they want, they're very particular. They're no different than you and I. You don't want your kids to be shot at, no more than they do. Okay, you don't want to rent from a slumlord, no more than they do. I mean, it's the same thing. So what I learned from that was that there's a group of people who have vouchers who really, at the end of the day, are no different than you and I. They want the same thing. Okay, and if I'm able to, if I want to compete for their business, okay, I've got to have a better quality product than the other landlords. Okay, I've got to buy in neighborhoods where these folks want to live. Okay, and I've got to treat them in such a way that they stay. Follow me? Because if I don't, they're going off. Let's start picking on some names. What's your name?
Deborah.
Deborah. Okay, I don't know Deborah. Let's say Deborah's another landlord. Okay, pick on this lady that's in the blue. Arletta. Okay. So let's say Arletta is a voucher holder. And I'm a landlord, and Deborah's a landlord. Everybody got me? We're trying to attract Arletta. Arletta is our prime tenant. She pays her rent on time. She keeps her place clean. Her kids are under control. She's looking for a decent home in a decent area. She wants to rent from a quality landlord. She hasn't been evicted. She's got excellent rental history. Deborah wants her. I want her. Everybody wants her. We don't want. Let's pick on somebody else. This lady. What's your name? Wanda. Okay. Wanda just got put out yesterday. She trashed the house on the way out. Okay. How many people want Wanda? Okay. No offense, Wanda. But if I had a choice, I'll pick out later. No offense, of course. Maybe, what's it called today? Maybe Anthony was. Because he works in social services, he's very understanding. He wants to give it a shot. Okay, that's okay. That's his choice. I'd rather rent to a tenant who's got a good rental history, and when I check them out, everything's perfect. Okay, so we're competing for the same person. You follow me? So why should Arletta choose my house versus Deborah's house? Why? Okay, if you can't answer that question, okay, you could end up where I was when that tenant shows up in my house, saying, I don't want to rent from you because of the fire. Because she's got choices. We all want her. Okay, there's not a lot of people that want Wanda, but Wanda will find something, and that's okay. But the demand is for Arlena. You follow me? And so you have to think from that perspective. You're in competition with other landlords. You're not the only one out there. Okay, we're all vying for the quality tenant, and that was a mindset shift, because the traditional landlord is, hey, Arlena doesn't have a choice. She's got a voucher, whatever. I can do whatever I want in my house. She's gonna pick it anyway. Okay, and that's not true, because she won't go anywhere. She won't. Just no more than you will. If you got kids, you don't want your kids coming out and getting beat up and shot at, and you don't. And if you did rent to one of those folks, you're probably not going to stay there very long. You'll be looking. Okay.
Other than checking the court records to see if they have an eviction, what other strategies do you use to attract the tier one tenant?
Okay.
Not just attract them, I'm saying find them. I mean, attract them by having a nice space, but how do you find these tier one and know that you have a good one and they're not going to trash your place or not paying?
Number one, as I said before, is the neighborhood where you buy your house. That is the driver. Where is your house located? Because the tier one tenant, that is the driver for them. Where is this house? What's the neighborhood? Okay? You can have a beautiful house, but if it's in not the greatest neighborhood, you may not be able to attract her. I mean, that's generally what it is. It's the neighborhood first. Now, I'm not saying that just because you're in a bad area, you won't find somebody. You'll find people. There are people that live everywhere. So you'll find tier one tenants in bad areas. In A, B, C, D, E, you'll find tier one tenants everywhere. Okay? And so if you're in, let's say, a D neighborhood, there are people that live in D neighborhoods. Very good people, just like Arlena. Okay? They're happy there. That's where they're growing up. That's where they're comfortable there. They want to live there. So there are tier ones in D neighborhoods. There are also tier Z in D neighborhoods as well. Okay? So the question you're asking is, how do you attract a tier one, regardless of the neighborhood? Okay, so let's just assume that we're in neighborhood A, whatever that is. The question is, how do we attract a tier one person for my house in neighborhood A, B, C, D, or whatever? Okay, so I start off by, obviously, you place an ad in the newspaper, online. I usually date myself right now. What's it called? Online. Yeah, what's it called? Zillow, Craigslist, DCHousing.org. There's plenty of different platforms where you can rent. And the description is very important. First of all, I have a nice house. Okay, the house has got to be attractive. I have professional grade photographs. I usually stage my homes, so it's furnished and it looks really, really good. It looks like a model home. Deborah doesn't do that. I'm competing with Deborah, okay? And my goal is she doesn't stand a shot to attract all that. So that's my goal, okay? Okay. The chances are Deborah, does what like most landlords do. Once the tenant leaves, they paint it and get it ready, empty, okay? I will do the same thing, but I'll make it nice, but I'll stage my home. So it kind of has a lot of warmth, emotions put in, number one. Number two is the ad. She may put a basic ad. I will highlight all the things that appeal to Arlena. I'm trying to understand and appeal to Arlena. So I know Arlena. I know what she's looking for. So the ad will appeal to her. Gorgeous this, beautiful this, close to this. You start saying all those things that I know will resonate with her, as opposed to 3-bedroom house, 2 baths, rent is this. Okay? So I've got professional grade photographs will be in there. And so obviously that's what people visualize. I'll have a link to a video where you can do a virtual walkthrough of the house as well. Okay.
Can I just piggyback on what you just said also?
Sure.
Since I'm Marletta and I'm tier one.
You're on there, right?
I would also do as a landlord, I would do a rental open house. And in a rental open house, in the ad, I would say 640 credits for or more, no evictions, and 640 credits for whatever. So you're weeding out the unsavories right there. And in the open house, you get you a group of people that you can leverage for whatever rentals you have coming down. You know, if you have 4 or 5 houses, then you're meeting a group of people at that open house, your rental open house, and you already have a laundry list of other people with good credit, no evictions, and whatever else you want to add in there for your next projects.
I would do that and very little. My experience is that most voucher holders don't have 640 credit.
Some do.
Some,
I've worked with some.
most don't.
Pretty impressive.
But some do. So credit is not the decided for me.
Mhm.
Okay. Now, if it's a market renter, yes. But for voucher holders, credit is not such a thing.
Or I mean, just to say whatever it is that you want to put in it, but
Yeah.
you're weeding out.
Yeah, you said,
Whatever it is.
right. So what I
in
do
the group.
in my ad, I said, if you are looking for, if I could pull it up. If you're looking for a beautiful house in a beautiful area with a great landlord, look no further.
That's good.
Okay, that's the top. Look no further.
Great landlord. You're a great landlord.
Okay, and I say that now. My goal is to be your best landlord you've ever had. It's in the app because that appeals to her because she's tired of slumlords.
Mhm.
Okay, and so I say that in the ad. You know, my goal is to be the best landlord you've ever had. I'm looking for the criteria I use. I'm looking for a person or a family that's clean, quiet, responsible, excellent rental history, and is looking to stay a long time. That's what I say in my ad, which appeals to her. All those things is what she wants.
Mhm.
Okay? She's clean, she's quiet, she's responsible, she's got excellent rental history, and she's looking for stability, okay, for her family. Okay? And she's looking for a good landlord. I'm trying to be the best landlord she's ever had. That resonates with me. You follow me? So I say things in the ad that appeals to her. Whereas Deborah, is it Debbie or Deborah? Okay. Deborah is not doing that. She's got the traditional landlord ad. You know, house in 123 Main Street, you know, 3 bed, 2 baths, you know, Friday, I'll be there, and the rent is this. Okay, I've got all those other adjectives and beautiful Porsches, you know, blah 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 on my ad. Okay, professional grade photographs, a link to the video, virtual walkthrough, and so on.
In your description, do you say Section 8 or voucher holders?
I say Section 8, welcome. Okay, welcome. So she's got a voucher. Wow, this guy, you know, this photograph, look at this video, it's a beautiful house. He's actually open to voucher holders. Okay, so a lot of landlords in good houses in good areas, they're not really too hot on. I mean, I know it's illegal, but they'll find ways to kind of, you know, say no. But I'm welcoming her. Okay, so she knows that if she's got a voucher, she's got a good shot at this house just as much as anybody else.
I have a question about staging. Because it's temporary, how does pricing go with that?
Okay. Well, good question. My wife's a stager. So I've got I get the family rate. What's it called? So, but I have students as well. They stage. It's because, again, we're in competition to attract Arletta. Okay, Arletta is looking for stability. You know, I'll get to that a bit later on. My longest, I regularly have tenants of 5, 10, 15, 20 years. My longest tenant is 26 years. 26 years.
Section 8.
Section 8 with a 15-year mortgage. Now you think about that. Okay, 26 years on a 15-year mortgage, an 18-year tenant on a 15-year mortgage.
Where's that property located?
It's in Hillcrest in Southeast. You know, it's a nice house. And the other tenant is 18 years. I was talking to her yesterday. 15-year mortgage. I bought it for $200K in Brooklyn. The blocks in that house are 800 now. She's paid for the house. Okay, she's paid for the house. Okay, this is deep stuff here. I'll get to a bit later on. How do you get a tenant to stay 5, 10, 15, 20 years? I'll get to that in a second. Okay? Sorry.
Do you also list on Section 8 as well?
Yes.
And we were wondering how they stay on their vouchers for 15, 20 years?
That's my concern.
But do you have people that have been able to have a voucher for that long?
My longest tenant is 26 years.
And the voucher for 20?
Vouchers for 26 years. Every year, or 2 years, they have to go and go researching line, which means they have to go back to the housing authority and submit paperwork and so on. And if you're in a nice house, a nice area, great landlord, jacuzzi and all that, not jacuzzi, the whole beautiful house to do that, Aleda will figure a way to stay. She's pretty creative. Okay, so I'll just leave it at that. And so on. But that's just how it is. Okay? So I've talked about the screening. So well, I didn't really do so, I mean, what I do, usual stuff like what Aleda was saying. I have an open house. People come to the house. When they come, I tell them who I am because Aleda doesn't know who I am. I tell her about the house, so about who I am. My goal is to be the best landlord you've ever had. I take care of my properties. If something goes wrong, I fix it. I'm looking for a family that's clean, quiet, responsible, excellent rental history, and pay the rent. And if you're interested in my house, we're going to do 4 things. I'm going to do verify your rental history. We're going to call your current and previous landlord. I'm going to credit check, income check, but also I'm going to make a visit to your home.
Go to their
I'm going to your house. I'm going to your house, Aleda, to see how you do your house. And she's not going to say that. But Wanda may say, well, why do you want to come to my house? Aleda's not going to say that. Okay, because she has no problem with that. You want to come to my house? Let's go. Okay, let's go. Okay, she's not intimidated by that. Now you,
I never heard that.
you probably say, why do you want to come to my house for? It's not your business. Okay, and so she's not going to fill the application. If you want to know how your house is going to be in 3 months, it is not by how Aleda speaks, what kind of dress she's wearing, what kind of job she's got, what kind of car she's got. It's got nothing to do with that. If you want to know how your house is going to be, you go to Aleda's house today, because that's how your house is going to be in 3 months. Guaranteed. Guaranteed. It is not her car. It's not her job. It's not. And that's been my experience. Just because somebody has a voucher doesn't mean that they got a crappy house. Just because somebody has a voucher doesn't mean that their kids are out of control. It doesn't. Because that's a stereotype. Not for the tier 1. Now for the tier Z, yes. That's all true for that. But for the tier 1, which is what I'm trying to shoot for with Aleda, she doesn't live that way. She doesn't.
Are they actually classifications of tier 1 to 0?
No, I couldn't do that.
Oh, that's your own classification system. Okay.
I mean, you understand what I'm saying when I say tier 1?
Mm-hmm.
I used to call it
Dream client.
the Nordstroms. Nordstrom voucher holders, I used to call it. The credit.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I mean, I have an MBA, So, every business, if you what we call segment the market, okay? And you segment the market and you target your customer, okay? And you understand the needs of your customer. If you understand the needs of your customer, then you can have a product that meets the needs of the customer. That's business 101, okay? Same thing here. Okay, I segmented that Section 8 market and broke it into, because not all voucher holders are the same. They're not. There's a tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, there are. And I want to target the tier 1. Everybody got me so far? Okay, how much time do I have? Okay,
You're good.
okay.
You're good. Yeah.
Okay, I get worried when he starts walking up and down, you know. Give you some messages, yeah. Right enough. And so on. So, okay, so we're good. I go to their homes. I do. And those ones, when they call for the ad, we say that. Okay? So from the get-go, this is what, if you're interested in a house, this is what we're going to do. Da, 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 da. Okay, no problem. So they can either screen themselves out from there, they're not even going to come to the house. But when they come to the house and I explain this, it's not a surprise. Well, you only do that because I have a voucher. No, I do that for everybody. Okay? There's no surprises. And when I explain this is what we're going to do, it's okay. Something is going on with your laptop.
So all renters,
Whoever's doing the computer. I'm sorry.
so anyone who rents your property, you visit their existing home.
Well, before I rent to them, yes. It's part of the screening process. Okay? So you call the landlord. Again, I don't want to go expensive because I can do screening is a whole topic by itself. Okay, and I can talk about that for a whole day. All the schemes that people do. Wanda, she just got put out, so she's going to say, well, Anthony's, is a buddy. Oh, Anthony's my boss, my landlord. So they scheme together. So so I call Anthony. Oh yeah, Wanda's fantastic. Oh, she's great. I highly recommend her. She's so good. I can, rent a truck tonight and move her out if you want. She's that good, yeah. and so on. So but that's a whole nother discussion. Is screening. But just at a high level, you have to screening is the key because most